إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Verily all praise are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we praise Him alone, and we seek His help and His forgiveness alone. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil within our own selves and from the evil of our own actions. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, there is no one that can misguide. And whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves to be misguided, there is no one that can guide again back to the straight path. I testify none has the right to be worshipped, to be followed and obeyed except Allah. And I testify that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the servant of Allah, His last and final prophet and messenger. And may the peace, mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon him, his family, his companions and all those who follow him in righteousness. Amma ba'd. Firstly, my dear Muslims, to start with a hadith of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, the best day on which the sun has risen is Friday. On it Adam was created, and on it he was made to enter the paradise. And on it he was cast out of it. And the last hour will not take place on any other day except Friday. Friday is the best day of the week for us. It's like a small Eid, if you like. The Muslims, the men, they come, obliged to come to the masjid. And I mentioned this hadith, my dear brothers. It's mentioned that the day of the last hour will begin on this day, Friday. And firstly, I urge you to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you are only created to worship Him alone. And remember that your time on this earth is very limited, and you are just a number of days, and every day that passes is a day less you've got from the allocated lifespan that you have here. And you must dedicate your life to fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to worship Him, to fear Him the way you fear Him in public, to fear Him in private. To fear Him the way you fear Him when you're with the brothers, all the way you fear Him when you're by yourself, and not to have a double standard in this. And to remind you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all-seeing and all-knowing, and He sees everything that you do. And remember that no sin is regarded as small and insignificant, because verily the mountains, they are made from small pebbles. And my dear Muslims, one of the things with the Jummah khutbah is to remind you about the hereafter. Remind you that about what's in front of you and what's behind you. What lies in front of you is the akhirah, and what lies behind you is the dunya, is this life of this world. So keep your eyes focused on the life of the hereafter. Keep your eyes focused on the day that you are guaranteed to be resurrected before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. So fear Him in all matters, and live your life in a way that you are prepared to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day, where you'll have nothing to fear and nothing to grieve. And those people who were busy in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and feared Him and did the good deeds and stayed away from the evil deeds, on that day they will have nothing to fear, nothing to grieve. And on that day the decision will be made, one of two, the paradise or the hellfire. And if you are someone who in this life you used to do the action of the people of paradise, inshallah you'll enter the paradise. And if you are someone in this life who used to do the action of the people of the hellfire, then you may end up in the hellfire unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives you. So remember what lies ahead of you, and remember what you are leaving behind, my dear Muslims. يغفر لكم ذنوبكم.